What's good, my Regal kings and queens? Welcome to Zed Regal Mindset. This is the place where the mindset, it always matters. Now, this is part 4 of a 10 video series about my transformational journey into becoming. So this one is called Navigating the Concrete Jungle Without a Sat-Nav. Most of us do that every single day in our life. Some end up in favorable positions and others end up in not so favorable places. I just saw the tingle. My quote for the day is that I wrote down for you is, good things can always come out of bad situations. Good things can always come out of bad situations. Now, we started with my journey in London. I've moved to the West Country where I've got the culture shock. I'm dealing with having to navigate, a new ends and find out who I am. Now it's like, all right, cool. I'm in the West Country. I've got this physical disability that affects every area of my life. You understand? But I'm still trying to find normality. So I'm doing the agency work and I'm doing as much as I possibly can. But the challenge I found was, if I told the agency that I had a physical, like a bad back stemming from my leg, I wouldn't be put up for certain jobs, for certain works. You understand? And so if I go to work, don't tell them I'm in pain. My pain is not worth working for somebody and I'm in pain. It made no sense. You get me? Catch 22. I told them it was an issue if I didn't tell them it was an issue. So that forced me to find my own way. You understand? A lot of people didn't understand the choices that I was making in my life because they wasn't living in my shoes. You understand? The individual challenges that I faced for me were for my personal journey. Just like yourself, things that you go through, it could be trivial to you and the next person is a minor thing. You understand? It's all about understanding who we are. And this is what comes from finding our place in society. We're surrounded by all different types of environments. I was surrounded by a whole heap of different things. On one side, I had the street life, criminality, drugs, guns, prostitutes, pimps, criminality. It was there. And to a degree, I was influenced a little bit by it, but I always had my own boundaries and levels to what I would and wouldn't do. You understand? And it taught me a lot. One thing I know is, in these times, you have to be street smart as well as book smart. The both of them work hand in hand and it allows you to be able to shapeshift, go into different environments and survive. You get me? So street smart is a key. Observing and evaluating others to create my own version of freedom for my life. What does that mean? That means every day you see people on television, in the movies, musicians, different creative artists, different professionals, and you look at them and they're excelling in what they're doing. My question was, what did it take for you to get from where you was to where you are? A lot of these people didn't really have easy backgrounds. They had challenging lifestyles, but somehow they made it to the top of their game, till they're known for a service. Like, I don't know, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Denzel Washington, they all started somewhere to get where they are. And then on the other hand, I'd be looking at people similar ages, all different ages, and they're not really doing anything with their life. They could have been cracked out or whatever. I would look at both sides and be like, well, I'm not going to be like them. That's not for me. But I like what they're doing. I can see that they're living for a purpose. You understand? When I look at my life, I understand that my life has a purpose because everybody I've ever come into contact with, having conversations of meaning, it's always been about me helping to heal them, helping to open up their mind, helping them to see a different side in them so that they can create the transformation in their self. You understand? I'm that spark. That's been my constant pattern. Anyway, modeling people. One thing we can say about that as well is you have to go through stuff to know yourself. You have to go through stuff to know yourself. And I just saw the tingo. And that's why I say it's not what happens, it's how we deal with it. Good situations, bad situations. I've always moved from a place of love. That's never changed. It's only got stronger as I've got older. It's only got stronger. You understand? So the things that we think of, the intentions, if we're thinking bad thoughts, bad intentions, bad talk and actions towards ourselves or others, there's such thing as a karma. We will attract that to us. We will attract it to us. So you got to be mindful of your thoughts, your actions and your talk. It may not happen straight away. You may not reap the whatever straight away. It could happen a day later, a week later, a month or years later. You understand? but we are true manifestors. You see me? Yeah, man. So mind your thoughts, mind your actions, mind the talk. You get me? If you're going to think about something, program your mind to think about the things that you truly want in this life. You get me? Anyway, the thoughts, words, and actions that taken in the dark will always come out in the light. It's so real. And that's what I was saying. That's the quote I wrote down for you lot. You get me? Always come out in the light. And the journey always has a purpose to destiny's calling. It's just up to us to find out what that calling is, which means we have to experience life on all levels, learn from it and grow from it. You understand? Compound the growth and continue to grow to be a better version of ourselves, not a bitter version of ourselves. You understand? And that's just how the thing go. You see me? So this is part 4 of 10. Stay tuned in for the next one. And just remember, the mindset, it always matters. That's the Regal mindset.